Jennifer Reyes steps into the world of Haven Airlines, determined to make her mark as one of the top co-pilots in the competitive aviation industry. Raised in a small coastal town, Jennifer has always dreamed of flying high above the clouds, leaving behind the constraints of her modest upbringing. Her first assignment pairs her with Captain Samuel Carter, a legend in the airline world known for his unparalleled skills and icy demeanor. Samuel, a man with years of experience and a reputation for being a perfectionist, is less than thrilled about working with Jennifer. He views her as yet another inexperienced trainee who will crumble under the pressure of his exacting standards. Jennifer, however, is undeterred. Her confidence, vibrant personality, and eagerness to learn clash with Samuel's rigid and no-nonsense attitude. On their first flight together to Belmont City, tension fills the cockpit as Samuel scrutinizes Jennifer's every move. Jennifer, while nervous, refuses to back down, determined to prove her worth. Despite the friction, their flight lands smoothly, marking the beginning of a professional relationship fraught with challenges but also potential for growth. Jennifer quickly discovers that working with Samuel is no easy task. During a simulation session, Samuel critiques her every decision, leaving her feeling frustrated but also motivated to improve. His relentless criticism fuels her resolve, and she spends nights studying flight manuals and practicing her skills to meet his high expectations. Meanwhile, Samuel is dealing with his own internal struggles. Haunted by a tragic crash from years ago that claimed the life of his best friend, he has built walls around himself, refusing to let anyone get close. Jennifer's vibrant and optimistic personality begins to irritate him, not because she lacks skill, but because it reminds him of the person he used to be before the incident. The friction between them escalates during a turbulent flight. When Jennifer suggests an unconventional maneuver to navigate through the turbulence, Samuel dismisses her idea, insisting on following protocol. However, when her instincts prove to be correct, Samuel is forced to acknowledge her talent, though he does so begrudgingly. Jennifer's persistence begins to earn her the respect of her colleagues, even if Samuel remains critical. During a layover in Harborview City, the two are assigned to a training workshop for crew coordination. The workshop forces them to engage in team-building exercises, much to their dismay. One activity requires them to share personal experiences that shaped their approach to flying. Jennifer opens up about her humble beginnings and how she worked tirelessly to fund her pilot training, inspiring others with her determination. Samuel, however, remains tight-lipped, refusing to share anything personal. Their dynamic shifts slightly when a chance encounter at a cafe during their layover leads to an unexpected conversation. Jennifer's genuine curiosity about Samuel's life catches him off guard, and he briefly lets his guard down, sharing a story about his early days as a pilot. It's a small but significant step toward understanding each other. Jennifer gets her first real test as a co-pilot during an international flight to Ravenshade International Airport. A technical malfunction in the communication system forces her to step up and make critical decisions alongside Samuel. Despite the high stakes, Jennifer remains calm and composed, using her quick thinking to assist Samuel in resolving the issue. The incident earns her the admiration of the crew and passengers, but Samuel remains stoic. Privately, however, he's impressed by Jennifer's abilities and begins to see her as more than just a rookie. The experience marks a turning point in their professional relationship. While Samuel continues to be demanding, his critiques become more constructive, and Jennifer starts to see glimpses of the mentor he could be. Their journey together is still fraught with challenges, but both Jennifer and Samuel begin to realize that they might have more to learn from each other than they initially thought. Jennifer Reyes and Captain Samuel Carter embark on a high-profile flight to Azure City, where they are tasked with transporting government officials to an international summit. The stakes are higher than ever, and the flight is under intense scrutiny. Samuel remains his usual meticulous self, ensuring that every detail of the flight plan is flawless. Jennifer, though nervous, takes this as an opportunity to prove herself further. Mid-flight, an unexpected storm brews over the ocean, forcing the crew to navigate through severe turbulence. Samuel assigns Jennifer the task of monitoring the radar and devising a new flight path. The situation becomes tense when the turbulence intensifies, and Jennifer must make a critical call to adjust altitude. Her decision proves successful, avoiding the worst of the storm and earning the gratitude of the passengers and crew. Though Samuel acknowledges her quick thinking, he refrains from openly praising her, maintaining his composed and distant demeanor. Jennifer starts to see through his stoicism, sensing a deep-seated fear of vulnerability. After the successful yet nerve-wracking flight, the crew spends a layover in Emerald Shore City. The time on the ground offers Jennifer and Samuel a chance to interact outside the confines of the cockpit. Jennifer joins the crew for dinner, while Samuel opts to stay back, as he typically avoids social gatherings. However, fate intervenes when Jennifer stumbles upon Samuel at a quiet bookstore near their hotel. Surprised by his choice of literature, aviation history, and philosophy, Jennifer strikes up a conversation. What starts as an awkward exchange evolves into a meaningful discussion about their love for flying. For the first time, Samuel shares his thoughts on the freedom and responsibility that come with being a pilot. Jennifer, in turn, reveals how she draws strength from her late father, who used to take her to watch planes at the local airstrip. The moment is fleeting but marks a subtle thawing of Samuel's icy exterior. The next flight brings a new challenge when the aircraft experiences a minor hydraulic issue shortly after takeoff from Sapphire Bay Airport. The problem is manageable but requires precise communication and teamwork. Samuel takes the lead, but this time, he entrusts Jennifer with handling part of the emergency checklist. Her calm and methodical execution reassures the rest of the crew, and they successfully manage the issue without alarming the passengers. Later, during the debrief, Samuel surprises Jennifer by commending her for her professionalism. The acknowledgement is brief but significant, as it's the first time he openly recognizes her contributions. Jennifer, though grateful, doesn't let it go to her head, knowing there's still much to prove. That evening, Jennifer reflects on the day's events and realizes that her respect for Samuel is growing, not just as a pilot, but as a person with layers she's yet to fully understand. Back at Haven Airlines headquarters, Jennifer is invited to participate in an advanced training program, a testament to her growing reputation within the company. However, the program requires her to temporarily leave Samuel's team, a prospect that brings mixed emotions. Meanwhile, Samuel receives news that unsettles him. The anniversary of the crash that changed his life is approaching. His mood becomes more withdrawn, and even the crew notices his uncharacteristic distraction. Jennifer, unaware of the exact cause, senses his unease and attempts to offer support in her own way. During a routine simulator session, Jennifer performs exceptionally well, earning praise from the training instructor. Samuel observes her from a distance, torn between pride and a growing sense of discomfort as he confronts his own unresolved trauma. Their next flight together brings these emotions to the surface when a minor disagreement escalates into a heated argument. Samuel accuses Jennifer of overstepping her boundaries, while Jennifer, hurt, calls him out for his inability to trust others. The tension simmers, leaving both feeling frustrated yet introspective. Jennifer Reyes's career takes another significant turn as she faces her first international flight to Golden Horizon City. This journey is vital for her development, but the task is daunting, especially as it involves a mixed crew from different divisions. Captain Samuel Carter is the lead pilot, and while his confidence in Jennifer has grown, he keeps her on a tight leash, ensuring no mistakes are made. As the flight progresses smoothly, turbulence strikes unexpectedly over a remote mountainous region. The autopilot system malfunctions, and Jennifer, in charge of monitoring weather patterns, notices an impending storm ahead. Samuel quickly assesses the situation and delegates roles, relying on Jennifer to assist in manual navigation. Jennifer struggles with her nerves, but manages to maintain her composure, suggesting an alternate route to bypass the storm. Her plan is risky yet calculated, and Samuel reluctantly agrees. The team executes the maneuver flawlessly, avoiding disaster and earning praise from the passengers. After landing, Samuel surprises Jennifer by acknowledging her role in averting the crisis. However, he also reminds her of the weight of responsibility pilots carry. His words resonate deeply, solidifying Jennifer's resolve to be a pilot worthy of trust and respect. The crew returns to Azure City for a brief layover, where Jennifer is invited to a company gala celebrating Haven Airlines' anniversary. Initially hesitant, she decides to attend, encouraged by her fellow crew members who see it as an opportunity for networking. At the gala, Jennifer stuns everyone with her elegance, stepping out of her usual professional attire. Samuel, also present, notices her transformation but remains reserved. Throughout the evening, Jennifer is approached by senior executives impressed by her performance, while Samuel keeps a watchful eye from afar. The night takes an unexpected turn when Jennifer overhears a conversation revealing Samuel's tragic past, a crash that claimed the lives of several passengers and left him haunted by guilt. The revelation gives Jennifer a new perspective on Samuel's stern demeanor. Later, she finds Samuel alone on the balcony, staring into the city lights. Though hesitant, Jennifer approaches him, sharing her admiration for his resilience. Samuel, caught off guard by her sincerity, opens up slightly, sharing how flying became his way of honoring those he lost. This vulnerable moment deepens their bond, though Samuel quickly retreats behind his professional mask, leaving Jennifer wondering how much more there is to uncover. Jennifer is assigned to a rigorous training session at Haven Airlines' Advanced Flight Academy, an opportunity to refine her skills further. While excited, she is also apprehensive about leaving Samuel's crew temporarily. During training, Jennifer excels in simulation tests but struggles with theoretical assessments. Her instructor, Captain Elena Vargas, a former colleague of Samuel's, challenges her to think critically and not rely solely on instinct. Jennifer works tirelessly, determined to prove herself worthy of the role. Meanwhile, Samuel faces mounting pressure from the airline's board regarding an upcoming fleet upgrade project. He is tasked with evaluating new aircraft models, a job that takes him away from active flights. Despite his busy schedule, Samuel checks on Jennifer's progress, subtly showing his concern. Jennifer's training culminates in a simulated emergency landing scenario, where her quick thinking and calm demeanor impress Captain Vargas. Jennifer is praised for her leadership qualities, earning a spot back on Samuel's crew. However, her newfound confidence leads to subtle friction with Samuel as she begins to assert herself more in the cockpit. Jennifer's return to Samuel's crew coincides with a high-stakes flight carrying international delegates to Crimson Bay City. The mission demands precision and coordination, with the airline's reputation on the line. Tensions rise during pre-flight preparations when Samuel overrides one of Jennifer's suggestions regarding fuel allocation. Jennifer, feeling undermined, challenges his decision. The argument is brief, but leaves an air of tension between them as they take off. Midway through the flight, an unexpected mechanical failure causes the cabin pressure to drop. Samuel and Jennifer must work together seamlessly to stabilize the situation. Their teamwork shines as they communicate effectively, implementing emergency protocols with precision. The crisis is resolved, and the flight lands safely, earning the crew a standing ovation from the passengers. During the debrief, Samuel acknowledges Jennifer's contributions, but also advises her to strike a balance between confidence and collaboration. Later, Jennifer reflects on Samuel's words, realizing he isn't dismissing her capabilities, but pushing her to grow. She begins to understand that their dynamic is less about conflict and more about mutual respect. After their successful flight to Crimson Bay City, Jennifer Reyes finds herself growing in confidence and competence, but the tension between her and Captain Samuel Carter continues to linger. Back in Azure City, Samuel invites the crew for a casual dinner to celebrate their successful mission. Jennifer is surprised but agrees to join, seeing it as an opportunity to better understand the man who remains an enigma. At the dinner, Samuel is surprisingly relaxed, even cracking a few dry jokes. The crew notices his rare smile, and Jennifer finds herself drawn to his hidden warmth. As the night progresses, Samuel's walls begin to crumble when the conversation shifts to his time as a pilot in Eagle Rock City, a time steeped in tragedy and growth. Jennifer listens intently, absorbing every detail, realizing how much his past shapes his present. Later, Samuel and Jennifer find themselves alone, walking through the quiet streets of Azure City. Jennifer thanks him for believing in her, despite their disagreements. Samuel, uncharacteristically candid, tells her that her drive reminds him of someone he once knew, someone who dreamed of flying but never had the chance. The weight of his words lingers, leaving Jennifer both inspired and curious. Jennifer is assigned to her first long-haul flight to Golden Horizon City, a route known for its demanding conditions. Samuel, as always, leads the crew with precision. During the flight, Jennifer notices a young passenger, a child traveling alone for the first time. She takes it upon herself to comfort the child, sharing stories of her own childhood dreams of becoming a pilot. As the flight enters a patch of severe turbulence, the cabin crew struggles to maintain order. Jennifer volunteers to assist in calming passengers, earning admiration from both the crew and Samuel. Once the turbulence subsides, Samuel praises her quick thinking but reminds her to prioritize safety over sentimentality. Upon landing, Samuel invites Jennifer for a quick coffee at the airport. Their conversation is casual at first, but soon turns personal. Jennifer asks about Samuel's motivations for becoming a pilot. He hesitates but eventually shares a story of how flying once gave him hope during a dark period in his life. Jennifer finds herself increasingly drawn to Samuel's vulnerability, though she knows better than to read too much into his words. For the first time, she sees the man behind the uniform, a man grappling with his own demons while guiding others to soar. Back in Azure City, Haven Airlines announces an internal competition to select a team for a new flagship route to Aurora Peak, a luxury destination that promises prestige and recognition. Both Jennifer and Samuel are selected to represent their respective divisions, but the competition pits them against other highly skilled crews. The competition involves a series of rigorous tests, including crisis management simulations, customer service challenges, and advanced navigation scenarios. Jennifer shines in her individual performance but struggles in team tasks, as her assertiveness occasionally clashes with other strategies. Samuel observes Jennifer's struggles but refrains from intervening, allowing her to find her own solutions. During one particularly intense simulation, Jennifer leads her team through a near failure, ultimately emerging stronger and more cohesive. After the competition, Samuel approaches Jennifer and tells her she's made significant progress, but she still has much to learn about teamwork. Jennifer, though slightly frustrated, appreciates his honesty and resolves to do better. Their shared determination strengthens their professional bond, even as unspoken emotions begin to surface. Jennifer realizes that her admiration for Samuel is growing into something more, though she is unsure if the feelings are mutual. The announcement of the competition results brings mixed emotions. Samuel's team is selected to lead the new flagship route, while Jennifer's team finishes a close second. Jennifer is disappointed but hides her emotions, congratulating Samuel and the others with grace. Samuel notices Jennifer's disappointment and offers her advice, reminding her that setbacks are part of growth. His words, though encouraging, only deepen Jennifer's desire to prove herself worthy of the opportunities she craves. Meanwhile, a new challenge arises as the airline faces scrutiny over an incident involving mechanical failure on another flight. Samuel is tasked with leading the investigation, leaving Jennifer to take on more responsibilities in their regular operations. As the pressure mounts, Jennifer begins to see cracks in Samuel's composed exterior. During a rare moment of vulnerability, Samuel confides in Jennifer about his fear of failing those who rely on him. Jennifer reassures him, reminding him that leadership isn't about being flawless, but about inspiring others to be their best. Their conversation deepens their connection, though both are careful not to cross the line between professionalism and personal feelings. Jennifer begins to see Samuel not just as a mentor, but as someone she deeply admires and cares for, while Samuel struggles to reconcile his growing feelings for her with his sense of duty. The airline schedules a crucial flight to Emerald Cove City, a location known for its unpredictable weather patterns. Samuel Carter is assigned as the captain, and Jennifer Reyes is chosen as his co-pilot. While Jennifer feels a mix of excitement and pressure, Samuel assures her that this flight will test not only her technical skills but also her ability to remain calm under pressure. As they prepare for takeoff, Jennifer notices that the weather forecasts are worsening. A fierce storm looms over their flight path, Samuel insists they proceed cautiously but emphasizes that safety is paramount. Throughout the journey, Jennifer carefully monitors the instruments, and Samuel observes her performance with a sharp eye, occasionally offering pointers. Mid-flight, the storm intensifies. The aircraft experiences severe turbulence, and a sudden lightning strike causes a minor malfunction in the navigation system. Jennifer steps up, analyzing the problem and offering solutions. Her calm demeanor impresses Samuel, who allows her to take control under his supervision. Together, they navigate through the storm, communicating effectively with air traffic control and ensuring the safety of their passengers. When they finally land at Emerald Cove City, the entire crew applauds their teamwork. Jennifer feels a renewed sense of confidence, while Samuel acknowledges her growth as a pilot. After the challenging flight, the crew is given a few days off in Emerald Cove City. Jennifer uses the time to explore the city, appreciating its serene beaches and vibrant local culture. She stumbles upon Samuel sitting alone at a cafe, deep in thought. Intrigued, she joins him, and their conversation takes an unexpectedly personal turn. Samuel shares a story about his early days as a pilot when he faced a similar storm but lacked the experience to handle it. The incident had left a scar, shaping his cautious and disciplined approach to flying. Jennifer listens intently, realizing how much Samuel's past influences his present decisions. In turn, Jennifer opens up about her own insecurities. She admits that her drive to prove herself stems from a fear of failure and a desire to make her late father, a former pilot, proud. Samuel encourages her, reminding her that even the best pilots face challenges and that perseverance is the key to success. Their shared vulnerabilities create a bond that feels deeper than mere camaraderie. Jennifer begins to see Samuel not just as a mentor, but as someone who understands her struggles on a profoundly personal level. Upon returning to Azure City, the airline announces a surprise evaluation for all pilots, assessing their skills and adherence to protocol. Jennifer is eager to prove herself, but the evaluation process is grueling, involving simulations, written exams, and interpersonal assessments. Jennifer performs well in most areas, but struggles with a simulated emergency landing. Samuel, as one of the evaluators, offers her constructive feedback, highlighting her strengths while pointing out areas for improvement. Though his criticism stings, Jennifer takes it to heart, determined to learn from her mistakes. Meanwhile, a rumor spreads within the airline about corruption in the evaluation process. Some pilots suspect that promotions are being influenced by favoritism rather than merit. Jennifer is approached by a senior pilot who implies she could secure a favorable result by aligning with the right people. Jennifer is torn but ultimately decides to report the incident to Samuel, trusting his integrity. Samuel takes swift action, ensuring that the evaluation process remains fair and transparent. He commends Jennifer for her honesty, reinforcing his belief in her character. Their interaction strengthens their professional respect for each other, even as unspoken emotions linger beneath the surface. During a routine flight to Golden Ridge City, an unexpected medical emergency occurs. A passenger collapses mid-flight, and the crew scrambles to provide assistance. Jennifer steps up, coordinating with the cabin crew and following Samuel's calm yet firm instructions. As the situation escalates, Samuel decides to make an emergency landing at the nearest airport. Jennifer assists in navigating the diversion, demonstrating her growing confidence and competence. Despite the tense atmosphere, their teamwork ensures a safe landing, and the passenger is rushed to medical care. The incident garners praise from passengers and the airline, highlighting the importance of composure and collaboration in critical situations. Jennifer feels proud of her contribution, while Samuel acknowledges her as a valuable co-pilot. After the flight, Samuel and Jennifer share a quiet moment in the cockpit, reflecting on the day's events. Samuel tells her that she handled the situation exceptionally well, and Jennifer thanks him for trusting her. The connection between them deepens, though neither openly acknowledges the emotions simmering beneath their professional relationship. Both are acutely aware of the complexities of their dynamic, but their growing trust and mutual respect continue to draw them closer. After the emergency landing, Jennifer finds herself reflecting on her growth, but also on her future as a pilot. She feels the weight of her aspirations more than ever. Samuel continues to mentor her, pushing her to reach new heights, but the pressure begins to weigh heavily on both of them. Their professional relationship has evolved into something more. Both are keenly aware of their growing feelings for each other, but they choose to keep them buried beneath layers of professionalism. One day, while training in the simulator, Jennifer faces a scenario that forces her to make a split-second decision. Either follow the strict protocol and risk the safety of the plane, or trust her gut and veer off course to avoid a dangerous collision. Her decision, though unconventional, saves the aircraft and earns her praise from the training staff. Samuel, though proud of her bravery, warns her to always balance her instincts with protocol. This tension between following rules and trusting one's instincts becomes a central theme in Jennifer's evolution as a pilot. Samuel, ever the pragmatist, is beginning to question his rigid worldview, while Jennifer's boldness challenges him in ways he hadn't anticipated. Despite the success of the day's simulation, the unspoken tension between Samuel and Jennifer is palpable. As the day ends, they exchange a quiet, lingering look. Neither speaks of it, but both know something has shifted between them. The airline receives an urgent request for a flight to Cascade Peak, a remote location that requires flying through dangerous mountainous terrain. It is a mission reserved for the most experienced pilots, and both Samuel and Jennifer are chosen. The flight is tense from the moment they take off. Samuel leads the way, showing Jennifer how to navigate through the treacherous mountain ranges. The weather grows more unpredictable by the hour, and the route becomes increasingly perilous. As they near the peak, a sudden storm forces them into a dangerous descent, with turbulent winds shaking the aircraft. In the chaos, Jennifer's calmness becomes the anchor that holds them together. She keeps communication open with Samuel, who directs her with precision and trust. Together, they execute a flawless emergency maneuver that lands them safely at the airstrip. As the flight comes to a close, the team celebrates their safe arrival. Samuel congratulates Jennifer, noting how much she has grown over the course of the mission. She feels a sense of pride, but there's an underlying emotional current that neither of them addresses directly. After the flight, they find themselves at a quiet bar in Cascade Peak, surrounded by the crew. When the others leave to return to their rooms, Samuel and Jennifer are left alone. In the silence, their unsaid words hang in the air. Samuel, always composed, finally breaks the silence. "You've come a long way, Jennifer. You're ready for anything." Jennifer looks at him, her voice steady but filled with emotion. "Thank you, Samuel, for everything." And for the first time, they both acknowledge the growing bond between them, one that neither is willing to fully confront yet. Back in Emerald Cove City, the airline's management announces a new set of evaluations, this time focusing on leadership qualities and decision-making under pressure. The test involves a series of high-stress scenarios where the pilots must lead teams, make life-or-death decisions, and demonstrate their ability to keep calm in chaos. Samuel is selected as the head evaluator, and Jennifer finds herself once again facing intense scrutiny. As the evaluation progresses, it becomes clear that Samuel's leadership style and Jennifer's growing independence are beginning to clash. Jennifer's quick thinking, though often effective, goes against the meticulous approach that Samuel values. He finds himself frustrated by her disregard for procedure, while she grows increasingly disillusioned by his rigid mindset. The tension between them escalates, and it becomes clear that their professional dynamic is no longer sustainable. That night, Jennifer confronts Samuel. "I can't keep flying under your shadow," she admits, her voice tinged with frustration. "I need to trust my instincts. You taught me that." Samuel looks at her, torn between his duty to the airline and his feelings for her. "I never wanted to hold you back, Jennifer, but sometimes following your instincts can cost more than just your career." For a moment, their eyes lock, and both realize the emotional distance that has grown between them. Despite their undeniable connection, they are now at a crossroads, caught between their professional goals and the complicated feelings they have for each other. The final test arrives, a joint mission to Starlight Island, where both Samuel and Jennifer must work together in one final evaluation. It's a chance for them to showcase all they've learned, but it's also a test of their relationship. As they prepare for the flight, Samuel offers Jennifer one last piece of advice. Remember, flying isn't just about the rules. It's about knowing when to break them for the greater good. The flight itself is challenging, with bad weather pushing both of them to their limits. Samuel and Jennifer face a crisis when the aircraft begins to experience mechanical failure. Together, they decide to make an emergency landing at a nearby airfield. The landing is rough, but they pull it off with no injuries. As the aircraft settles on the tarmac, the crew erupts in cheers. Samuel looks at Jennifer with a mix of pride and admiration. After the flight, they share a private moment away from the crew. "You were incredible out there," Samuel says quietly. Jennifer smiles, her eyes meeting his. "So were you." The unspoken tension between them is finally broken. Both know that their relationship has evolved beyond professional boundaries, but the future is uncertain. Still, they stand together, both uncertain of what's next but confident in their ability to face it. After the tense emergency landing at Starlight Island, Samuel and Jennifer find themselves both physically and emotionally exhausted. The night sky over the isolated airstrip is tranquil, an odd contrast to the adrenaline they've just experienced. In the quiet that follows, the weight of their unspoken feelings becomes more apparent than ever. As the crew begins preparations for the return flight, Samuel and Jennifer sit in the small lounge, trying to gather their thoughts. Samuel, as always, is composed, though there's a noticeable edge to his calm demeanor. Jennifer, on the other hand, feels a surge of vulnerability she hadn't anticipated. Despite their shared challenges, she realizes that she's grown beyond the limitations she once felt when it came to Samuel's guidance. "Thank you," Jennifer says, her voice steady but soft, "for believing in me, even when I didn't believe in myself." Samuel looks at her, his usual guarded expression softening. "You don't need to thank me, Jennifer. You've always had what it takes. You just needed to see it for yourself." The words hang between them like an unspoken truth. Their relationship, once purely professional, has shifted into something deeper, but they both know they can't continue to avoid the growing connection they share. After a long pause, Samuel adds, "I hope you'll remember that, no matter where we go from here." They both turn their attention back to the airstrip as the plane is prepped for takeoff, but the moment has left an imprint on them. In that brief exchange, they've come to terms with how far they've come, not just as colleagues, but as individuals. Upon returning to Summit Heights, Jennifer is faced with more than just the challenges of her flying career. News of their successful flight to Starlight Island spreads throughout the airline, and the attention she receives now feels different, like a recognition she's longed for, yet one that makes her uneasy. Samuel, on the other hand, is celebrated as the seasoned pilot who led the flight to safety, further cementing his authority in the eyes of their peers. Despite this public acknowledgement, Jennifer feels a strange sense of isolation. The praise feels hollow when compared to the internal struggle she's been enduring, torn between her growing feelings for Samuel and the professional boundaries she's always kept between them. Samuel's unwavering discipline, his rigid focus on flying, has made it difficult for her to fully open up to him about how she feels. Meanwhile, Samuel is also grappling with his own internal conflict. He begins to question his strict professional demeanor, especially in his interactions with Jennifer. Her natural ability to lead with instinct and her willingness to embrace the unknown challenge him to rethink his rigid ways. Samuel starts to realize that his feelings for Jennifer go beyond mentor and protege. They've evolved into something much more personal. But the fear of disrupting the fragile balance they've built, both professionally and emotionally, keeps him at arm's length. As they continue to work together on more flights, the tension between them grows. The emotional distance that has formed, especially on Samuel's part, becomes even more pronounced, causing Jennifer to withdraw into herself. She focuses on improving her skills, hoping that if she proves herself enough, Samuel will finally recognize her as an equal, not just as a student. The next big opportunity for Jennifer arises when she is given the lead role in a particularly difficult flight to Crescent Bay, a coastal region known for its unpredictable winds and tight landing zones. This mission marks a turning point for Jennifer's career. If she succeeds, it will solidify her place as one of the airline's top pilots. But it's also an immense pressure. especially since she knows Samuel will be watching closely. As they prepare for the flight, Samuel offers Jennifer a quiet word of advice, though his tone is tinged with hesitation. "Trust yourself," he says, but his eyes linger on her longer than usual, his expression unreadable. Jennifer nods, grateful for the support, but also feeling a swell of emotions she hasn't allowed herself to confront until now. She's no longer just proving herself to Samuel, she's proving it to herself. With each takeoff and landing, she feels more confident in her abilities, but there's a constant awareness that Samuel is watching her, a presence that both comforts and unsettles her. As they approach Crescent Bay, the winds pick up, and the team faces difficulties with the landing approach. For a moment, Jennifer is thrown into a state of panic, but she quickly regains control. Her instincts guide her through the turbulence, and with Samuel's calm guidance over the comms, she safely lands the plane. Once on the ground, the crew celebrates, but Jennifer's eyes immediately find Samuel's. He's smiling, but there's an unreadable look in his eyes. The success of the mission has been overshadowed by something deeper, an unspoken connection that neither of them can deny any longer. After the mission, Samuel approaches Jennifer. "You did well. You should be proud." She meets his gaze, heart pounding in her chest. "I couldn't have done it without your support," she admits. For the first time, the walls between them crack. They stand together, two souls united by their shared passion and experiences, but both uncertain of what comes next. The air is thick with the tension of unspoken feelings, and neither is ready to let go of the safety net they've created. Jennifer and Samuel are caught in a storm, not just in the skies, but in their hearts as well. Despite the undeniable connection they share, they remain hesitant to confront their emotions. The distance between them continues to grow, especially as Jennifer is assigned to lead another major flight, a flight that could determine her future with the airline. In the days leading up to the flight, Samuel begins to pull back. He becomes distant and even colder than usual, and Jennifer can feel the change. She worries that perhaps he's made a decision to distance himself from her, both personally and professionally. The tension reaches its peak when Samuel unexpectedly cancels a training session with Jennifer. The act feels like a betrayal to her, as if he's deliberately creating distance. In a moment of vulnerability, Jennifer confronts him, her voice shaky but determined. "Why are you doing this, Samuel? What happened to us?" Samuel struggles to find the right words. "I'm doing this because I care about you, Jennifer, and I can't risk you getting hurt, emotionally or professionally." His confession takes her by surprise. For the first time, he's admitting that his feelings for her run deeper than just a mentor's concern. Jennifer is left reeling, her own feelings of affection and confusion mirrored in Samuel's words. "I never wanted to hurt you," she whispers, her voice breaking. They stand in silence, the storm outside mirroring the storm raging within. Both are faced with the reality that they can no longer avoid their feelings. But at the same time, they are afraid of what will happen if they allow themselves to acknowledge them. The storm passes, and with it, the emotional tension between Jennifer and Samuel. After their confrontation, both of them retreat to process everything they've said and felt. It takes time, but the distance between them starts to close. Samuel realizes that his reluctance to open up has only caused pain for both of them. Similarly, Jennifer acknowledges that she has to let go of the fear of what could happen and embrace what she truly feels. One evening, after a successful flight, Samuel pulls Jennifer aside. This time, there's no hesitation in his voice. "I've been a fool," he admits. "I've spent so much time focusing on rules and structure that I forgot about what really matters. What matters to me is you." Jennifer's heart races as she listens to him. "I feel the same way, Samuel," she replies softly, "but I didn't know how to make it right." This time, they don't hold back. Their kiss is a quiet promise, an acknowledgement of the connection they've been fighting for so long. With it, they know their relationship will never be the same. They've crossed a line, but in doing so, they've found a new beginning. The story of their flight is far from over, but for the first time, Jennifer and Samuel are ready to take on the skies together. The wind howls outside as the team prepares for the most dangerous flight yet. A transcontinental mission to Silverstone Bay, where fog and high-altitude winds threaten to make the flight especially perilous. For Samuel and Jennifer, this flight holds more than just professional stakes. It's their final test before they can truly move forward with their lives and careers. Their personal feelings have been simmering beneath the surface for weeks, but this flight has become the ultimate challenge, testing not only their skills as pilots but their trust in one another. Jennifer's nerves are on edge, knowing that Samuel is watching her every move. She's learned to anticipate his instructions and has grown confident in her own abilities, but the pressure to succeed has never been so intense. Samuel, too, is feeling the weight of the responsibility. For the first time, he realizes that this flight isn't just about safety. It's about proving their ability to work together, both in the air and in their personal lives. Before takeoff, Samuel pulls Jennifer aside for a private moment. The air around them is charged with unspoken words. "You're ready for this, Jennifer. Trust yourself," he says, his voice unusually soft, his usually composed demeanor betraying the emotions running beneath the surface. It's a rare moment of vulnerability for Samuel, and it makes Jennifer's heart race. "I know," Jennifer replies, meeting his gaze. "And I trust you too, Samuel. I always have." The words hang between them, a promise and a challenge. They both know the risks of the mission, but there's no turning back now. As the plane takes off into the turbulent skies, Jennifer feels a sense of clarity she's never had before. In this moment, with Samuel by her side, she's more certain than ever that they can overcome anything. The flight is difficult. Every moment feels like a test. The turbulence is fierce, and Jennifer must rely on all of her instincts to guide them through the storm. Samuel's voice in her earpiece is steady, offering guidance without hesitation. She knows that his calmness is the anchor they need, but in the back of her mind, she's acutely aware of the growing tension between them, the need to address their feelings. With each passing minute, they grow closer to their destination, but the weather doesn't let up. The visibility is near zero, and as they approach Silverstone Bay, Jennifer is faced with a difficult decision. The landing is risky, and the storm is showing no signs of easing. It's a decision that could make or break their future together, not just professionally, but emotionally. With the fog so thick she can barely see the runway, Jennifer listens to her instincts, just as Samuel has taught her. She takes the plunge, choosing to trust herself rather than following the protocol to abort the landing. Samuel, realizing what she's doing, doesn't hesitate. He supports her every step of the way, offering calculated instructions that allow her to execute the perfect landing. As the wheels of the plane touch down smoothly on the foggy runway, Jennifer exhales a breath she didn't know she was holding. It's a moment of triumph for both of them, but it's also a recognition of the trust they've built in each other, not just as pilots, but as partners. Once the plane is safely on the ground, the team erupts in applause. But for Samuel and Jennifer, the celebration is quieter. They exchange a glance, both of them knowing that this flight was more than just a successful mission. It was a turning point. Samuel steps toward her, his usual reserve giving way to a rare smile. "You did it, Jennifer," he says. "We did it." Jennifer smiles back, her heart swelling with a mix of pride and something deeper. "We did it together." The days after the successful landing in Silverstone Bay pass in a whirlwind of media attention, interviews, and accolades. But for Samuel and Jennifer, the external praise doesn't hold the same weight as the internal transformation they've undergone. They've proven to themselves and to each other that they are capable of not only leading in the cockpit but trusting each other with their hearts. But with the fame comes a difficult choice. Jennifer receives an offer from another airline, one that promises more opportunity, a higher salary, and a fresh start. It's everything she's worked for. Yet when the offer lands in front of her, she finds that it doesn't feel like the victory she anticipated. In fact, it feels like the beginning of an impossible choice between her career and her future with Samuel. As she walks into Samuel's office, the offer letter in her hand, she's unsure how to begin the conversation. She's always prided herself on being able to make decisions, but this one feels different. "Samuel," she begins, her voice hesitant. "I've been offered a promotion, a position that would take me to a new place, a new start. It's everything I've wanted." Samuel looks at her, his eyes steady. "And what do you want, Jennifer?" She pauses, feeling the weight of the question settle on her shoulders. I don't know anymore. I thought I wanted this, but now I realize that the choice isn't as simple as it seemed." Samuel stands and walks toward her, his presence both comforting and overwhelming. "You've always had the strength to make your own choices," he says gently, "but you don't have to make this decision alone. I'll support whatever you choose. Whatever path you take, I'll be with you." Jennifer looks up at him, her heart aching. The decision isn't just about the job anymore. It's about the life she wants to build. And the life she wants to build, she realizes, is one with Samuel. She hands him the offer letter, her decision already made. "I think I'm ready to stay here," she says, her voice steady. "With you, and wherever that takes us." Samuel smiles, a soft, knowing smile that speaks volumes. "Then we'll make it work. Together." As they stand there, the future suddenly feels much clearer. There will be challenges ahead. Every career has its obstacles, and no relationship is without its hurdles. But they've learned to trust each other, to work as partners in the skies and on the ground. They know that their love, just like their flying, will require effort, patience, and dedication. But together, they can soar. As the sun sets outside the office window, they both look up, knowing that the journey ahead is theirs to navigate, together, as equals, as partners, as something more. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed the story. Please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe for more delightful stories.